Hey guys, it's Jess back with another Misfit Makers Besties tutorial, and this week we are doing this adorable camera sleeve. I cannot wait to get started and tell you all about it, but first make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. We upload twice a week, and that's the way to get notified. Also, check out our free Facebook group, Misfit Makers, and if you want to take your business to the next level, check out our mentorship group, Misfit Makers Besties. Okay, guys, I am so excited for this design. When you are watching it, it will finally be released, but we are about 6 months behind, so I have to keep this secret in for so long, but I am so excited. This camera sleeve is from 3D Undercover. I've had this idea in my head for a few months, and I reached out to Kim and was like, hey, can you make this happen? And she said, absolutely. So this sleeve is a custom exclusive sleeve for our tour in Joplin, Missouri, September 13th and 14th. Tickets go on sale April 1st, but again, by the time you see this tutorial, we are already going to have this event because the besties that are going to Joplin get to see it first before you guys. So we are going to start by prepping our sleeve. We are starting out with our pop of color CCDIY paint, and I am just going in and painting the entire thing blue. I'm not worrying about any of the little details yet because honestly, I wasn't quite sure what colors I wanted to make what. And as you see me go along, I will actually make some changes along the way. So my little tip to you before you start painting is like take a canvas or a piece of paper and some colored pencils or markers and kind of draw it out and see what what color scheme you want to go with. I had a color scheme in mind. I knew I wanted to stick to like the pastel colors, but again, I just wasn't sure what exactly I wanted to make what color. Okay, so now we're going to go in after we have a good base coat. And again, as you notice, this sleeve is not on my tumbler yet. I try to do as much as I possibly can off of the tumbler because I feel like it is easier to work with. But some things I am doing in real life time, and then a lot of this I have sped up. And even the sped up parts you see are so slow. This took me a long time, guys. I know it doesn't look like there's a lot of details, but if you take your time and you really want it to look good, and I knew that I wasn't going to glitter mine, like the paint, that's what it was. Yes, we added a little bit of Sparkle-tastic to our epoxy to give it some kind of glitter, but if there were any minor or major flaws in the paint, they were going to show up. So here you see me, this is sped up 6 times the original. And look how slow it is still. Again, it probably took me, I don't even know, 4 or 5 hours to paint this entire thing. It took a while, guys. So besties that are in Joplin that already did this class, I'm sure you already cursed me out, okay? Okay, so again, we're just going in with all of our details. You can make these any colors you'd like. Now, after September 13th and 14th, you can find your sleeve at 3D Undercover. So go check them out. I will link it down below along with all of the products that we are using. So I have this reflection marker again from CCDIY, and I went in and I did those 2 little sections. Later on, you will see I changed it up because the big little section right now that I believe, not this section, the next section up at the top that I believe that you're going to see me go in and paint purple, that is actually the flash button. I looked up a little Polaroid camera and I was like, oh my gosh, this is the flash button, not the other piece. So I did go in and switch those out. Now my reflective marker, I found it easier to like put some out on a piece of paper. So just, I kind of put the tip down on a piece of paper and press it down a few times until it comes out. And then I use my paintbrush and I paint the reflective ink or reflective paint on to your canvas, like onto your camera. Because I feel like when you just put the tip of the marker onto the pop of color paint, it was like taking the paint off. Hopefully that makes sense. But you can see I made a little bit of a mess because that comes out so fast, but that's okay. Just let it dry all the way, and then we'll go in with our blue paint and clean it up and make it look really nice. You saw I added a little bit of purple down the bottom, a little bit of yellow, and now I thought doing black in the middle of the lens was like the perfect touch. So voila. Now I'm just touching up that silver like I mentioned before because it kind of ran all over the place. I am obsessed. I am loving the way this turned out. Again, so I know I wanted to leave it just painted because I think it looks very clean and neat. Yes, you could go in and glitter all of those sections, but you're going to have to like really be careful because some of those sections are very small. Now, I found the perfect vinyl. This vinyl is from Vinyl Fun for Everyone, and before I even knew I had this vinyl in my head, I was like, oh yes, black and white checkered would look so good. So here you see me cutting out and measuring my cup, just a loose measure. I don't want to waste my vinyl, but your measurements don't have to be exact. Save those little pieces in case you want to do a matching pen or a matching keychain. I always keep all of my scraps. Here I am just taking my ruler and marking a straight line so I can guide that vinyl on to my tumbler and making sure that it is straight on there and it's not all cattywampus once we get all the way around. So that is what I'm doing here. Once you get it down, just use your squeegee tool just to squeegee that vinyl all the way around your tumbler and not getting any bubbles in your vinyl. If you do get any bubbles in your vinyl, use a pen or X-Acto knife and just poke those bubbles out. Sometimes it happens, guys. It's okay. It doesn't mean that you did anything wrong. I had my vinyl overlap just a little bit, and since the vinyl is white in some sections, I can see where it overlaps, and I personally didn't like that. So I'm just taking my X-Acto knife and we are trimming that excess up so it just looks a little more aesthetically pleasing. You could still see my seam, just not as much as it was before. I love this checkered vinyl, guys. Like I said, I just think this was the perfect touch, perfect vinyl to go with this camera sleeve. Now I'm just seeing the two together. I'm not quite ready to add my sleeve to my tumbler, but I'm just sitting here admiring it, okay? Take your edging tool and trim up the top of your vinyl. I like that little bit of stainless steel showing at the top. Again, it looks aesthetically pleasing, clean, neat, and well put together. Now, again, you see my sleeve is not on my tumbler. Again, I like to do as much as I possibly can off of the tumbler. That is just my personal preference. You can apply your sleeve first thing before even prepping if you'd like. It's complete preference. So I'm going in with a coat of UV resin. My UV resin, I just added a little bit of Sparkle-tastic to it, again, to get that like glitter shimmer that I want. And I'm going in with a paintbrush and painting it on. Of course, this part is sped up because this took me a while as well. I like doing a coat of UV resin on top of my sleeves before epoxy because I feel like that first coat always takes the longest, especially if you have glitter and not just paint. But even with just a coat of paint, that first coat takes a while. So epoxy, you're under a time frame. With UV resin, you're not. You can take your time, go in with that paintbrush. And I mean, you could take an hour if you want to take an hour. So it didn't take that long. Don't worry. Probably took me about 15, maybe 10, 15 minutes to do the entire sleeve though, making sure that I have a really good coverage all around. Once I have a good coverage all the way around, I really start to see how well the sleeve is coming together. I am going to stick it underneath my UV lamp to cure. I will link my UV lamp down below, but it's like a heavy duty UV lamp. And look at it. I went ahead and did a coat of epoxy before moving on to my decals because I just wanted to make sure that my surface was smooth all the way around. Once that epoxy was completely smooth, it is time to add the decals. So some of these decals, like you see here, my white clear cast ones are from Vinyl Fun for Everyone. And then my other ones, I just found on Google a little daisy flower and a little smiley face. You can probably find, Google, Etsy, or in your Silhouette studio. So I am going to sporadically apply these. Every single one of these decals I thought went perfect with the theme. I, again, just love the way this is turning out. My decals that I found on Google, this is just my 651 vinyl and various colors. Again, my vinyl's from Vinyl Fun for Everyone as well, along with my transfer tape. This one's probably my favorite. Love the way this one looks. Again, and you see me I'm like, should it go here? Should it go here? It doesn't, do whatever you think looks the best. Play around with it. I can't wait to see everybody's camera sleeves and how they turned out. So excited. So after you have all of your decals on, it is time to add our sleeve to our tumbler. So you're going to want to use epoxy to apply your sleeve. If you have a fast set epoxy, I would use that just so you don't have to wait like 8+ hours to mess with it. So I'm going to go in with my fast set from CCDIY, and you want to apply a very thin coat, okay? If you apply too much epoxy to your tumbler, then it's going to seep out at the bottom and it's just going to make a mess. It's going to pool up at the bottom, and then whatever you have underneath is going to stick to it. It might peel up that paint, or it's just be careful, okay? Very, very thin amount, like 2.5 mLs or less, especially we're only applying it to the bottom part of our tumbler, so we really don't need that much. Make sure after you put your sleeve or your tumbler in your sleeve that it is sitting on a flat surface and that you have a silicone mat underneath it, just in case you do have any seepage at the bottom. You're not ruining your desk or the surface underneath wherever it's sitting. Oh my gosh, look how cute this looks. We're going to go in with our final coat of epoxy. This is medium viscosity from CCDIY. I mixed up 40 mLs and I did add a little bit of Sparkle-tastic because I wanted that vinyl to be like sparkly too. Using a gloved finger, since it already has a couple coats on there, I didn't find it necessary to go in with like a paintbrush again. My finger did the trick, getting in all the crooks and crannies, okay? Now, after you apply this epoxy all the way around, I found it easier to apply the epoxy off of my turner than on my turner. After I'm done, I'm going to stick it on my turner and torch it, and then let it turn for about 8 to 10 hours until it's no longer tacky. And then voila! I am obsessed with this. I hope this tutorial helped and inspired you guys. I cannot wait to see all of your camera sleeves. Go check out 3D Undercover to grab yours. Bye, guys.